The Librarian, Crimson Ledger. Chapter 12. The Last Confession of the Librarian. Funny thing is, they always start with the bodies, never the books. That was their first mistake. Bodies are noisy, even when they're still. They gather grief, they gather cameras, they gather men in plastic gloves who look serious beneath bad lighting. Bodies make people feel useful. A name, a date, a location, a cause. They like cause. Cause makes horror feel organized. But the books were always there first, before the body, before the question, before the photograph with the little numbered marker beside the hand. There was always a book, returned, borrowed, recommended, gifted, left open, left waiting. Nobody feared them. That was the clever part. People fear blood. They do not fear paper. They do not fear a woman behind a desk who knows their reading history. The library is closed now. For the first time in years, there is no bell above the door, no raincoats dripping on the tiles, no children dragging their fingers along the lower shelves, no men leaning over the counter as if closeness were a language. No women smiling with their teeth while measuring the length of my skirt. No one asking if I can just let it slide. No one asking if I remember them. I do. That's the trouble. I remember everyone. Every borrowed lie, every little performance, every hand that mistook patience for permission, every apology that arrived only after consequence, every saint who needed an audience, every good man with hooks in his kindness. Every harmless person waiting for a smaller person to step close enough. People think memory is soft. It isn't. Memory has edges. Memory keeps receipts. Memory knows what time you came in, what you touched, what you damaged, what you laughed at, what you thought did not count. I wrote it down because nobody else did. That is not an excuse. Do not mistake me. I am finished with excuses. I collected them for long enough. Bad day, hard childhood, lonely marriage, too much drink, only joking, only once, only human, only. That word could bury a town. And it did. The police asked me when I began. I told them the truth. Tuesday. They didn't like that. They wanted a wound, a proper one, something large enough to make sense of the graveyards. A dead mother, a violent father, a man who broke me, a monster who made me monstrous. They wanted a doorway they could point to and say, there, that is where evil entered. But evil rarely needs a doorway. Most of the time, it comes in with everyone else, wipes its feet, says good morning, asks for a recommendation. I did not wake up one day with blood in my mouth. I bought a notebook, plain black cover, cream pages, red ribbon. I drew a line down the middle. Good on the left, bad on the right. I thought fairness could save me from myself. That is almost funny now. The good column stayed thin. Not empty, thin. That mattered. There were kind people. Briefly. There were gentle moments, small mercies, hands that did not reach, voices that did not take. But kindness, I found, was often temporary, conditional, decorative, a candle in a room already burning down. And the bad column? Well, the bad column did not need encouragement. It filled itself. Names, dates, offenses, patterns. A man returned a book late and taught me everything about entitlement. A woman asked for romance and smiled like cruelty had never worn lipstick. A nice man held doors open until everyone forgot doors could also close. A boy laughed. A husband lied. A teacher watched. A priest remembered only the sins that belonged to other people. You see, that is why they started with the bodies. Bodies are simpler. Bodies do not argue. Bodies do not ask what counts. Books do. Books ask better questions. Who touched this? Who wanted this? Who chose this story and why? Who folded the corner? Who left the stain? Who read the ending first? Who brought it back damaged and expected forgiveness because damage is ordinary? I learned people through books. Not the titles, not really. The handling, the timing, the excuses. The way someone returned a thing told me more than the thing itself. Careless people are honest when they believe the object is small. That was the secret. I never needed confessions. I had circulation records. I had receipts. I had fingerprints nobody thought were evidence. I had smiles. Smiles are evidence. Every smile leaves a fingerprint. Every favor leaves a thread. Every little joke shows where the blade prefers to enter. They called me charming, helpful, sweet, pretty when they thought I would enjoy being reduced, cold when reduction failed. They called me quiet. I was. Quiet is useful. Quiet hears what confidence spills. Quiet sees where power rests its hand. Quiet knows which men look at exits and which men look at girls. By the time they understood, I had become part of the furniture. The desk, the lamp, the stamp, the girl with the cardigan and the red pen. Reliable things do not frighten people. That is another mistake. The most dangerous things in the world are often reliable. A train, a clock, a woman who has decided she will not change her mind. No, I will not tell you where all of them are. Some books should remain missing. No, I will not explain why that name and not another. That was never the question. Everyone wants motive because motive flatters them. It lets them believe they would have noticed. They would have seen the crack. They would have avoided the shelf. They would have been kind enough, pure enough, different enough to remain unwritten. Everyone thinks they are the exception. I have never met one. Do I regret it? There, that question. They always ask it as if regret is a key, as if I can say yes and let the world unlock itself. No, I regret inaccuracies, missed details, a date written too quickly, a title chosen too elegantly when plainness would have been more honest. I regret the third body because the book was wrong. Not the death, the book. That is when they stopped recording. For the first time, someone in the room understood I was not trying to be forgiven. Good. Forgiveness is another story people tell when they want the ending softened. I am not softening this. The library is closed. The doors are locked. The ledger is in evidence. My hands are clean. Because soap does what soap is made for. And still, they keep asking me to explain. I have explained. I explained in margins. I explained in due dates. I explained in red ink and clean lines and the silence after a stamp came down. I explained every time a book appeared beside a body, and nobody asked why that book. They always start with the bodies, never the books. That was their first mistake. Their last was thinking the story ended when they caught me. But libraries do not end. They close. They wait. They keep records. Somewhere, someone is reading this and looking back over all the little things they allowed themselves to ignore. Good. Look closer. That is all I ever did. I looked closer. And once you learn how to look, really look, there is no such thing as an innocent page.
The Librarian, Crimson Ledger. Epilogue, due date.
The library reopened on a Thursday. People said it was too soon. People came anyway. They always do. A new desk had been brought in. New carpet, new paint, new signs reminding patrons to return borrowed items on time. The old lamp was gone. So was the ledger, officially. The woman behind the desk was young. Soft voice, careful smile, hands folded neatly over a fresh stack of library cards. She had been told everything. Of course she had. Everyone had. The bodies, the books, the red ink, the interviews, the confession. The town had turned horror into something it could survive. A story, a warning, a thing that happened here once. Once. That is always the lie people need most. Just before closing, the bell above the door rang. A man stepped in from the rain, coat dripping, shoes muddy, smile already apologizing for the inconvenience he was about to become. He placed a book on the counter, 3 weeks late, damaged spine, folded corner, coffee stain on the final page. The woman looked at the book, then at him. He laughed softly. "Don't tell me you're one of those strict librarians." For a moment, the whole room held its breath. Then she smiled. Not much, just enough. She opened the returns drawer, took out a pen, and wrote down his name. Due date, today. Then beneath it, in smaller letters, she added, "Believes rules are for other people." The bell rang again as he left. The young librarian looked down at the name she had written, then at the drawer beneath the returns desk. It was older than the new furniture, older than the paint. A narrow black catalog drawer they had missed when they cleared the room. She opened it. One card sat inside. No stamp, no date. Just the same surname, written in a hand that was not hers. And beneath it, recurring.